Welcome. This is an audio experience with Maximizing Moments with Milton. International speaker, author, trainer, and coach, podcast host, and social media inspirator. I want to say thank you so much for joining today, and now let the training begin. Oh, Maximizers, thank you for joining me today on this audio podcast, and I enjoy and I appreciate your attention as you give me listening to this audio episode. And we're going to be talking about instinct today. Dun, dun, dun. Instinct. What does it mean? How can it impact your life and uncover more of your potential as you live this thing called life? I think so many times, just in my own stories, I'm a man that understands and have been a witness to and can say that instinct does work. And how do you define it? And then I don't want to say, hey, there's different ways to define instinct. For me, since I'm a man of faith, I do believe there is a calling, a deeper voice, a higher voice that resides within me that allows me to have some advantages in understanding and clarity and wisdom in certain situations in my life. But instinct, if you want to look at a more broader world aspect view of it, it really is your gut inner talking. However you want to get to that same spot in our thinking, is that your gut is telling you that there's something that needs to be done in this moment. Instinct only arises when there's something going on in the moment, where it can be a challenge when it comes to your mental state. It can be a challenge when it comes to your relationships, or your finances, or your profession, or your business, or your health. Those are instincts, and there's a spiritual component to that because of the makeup that you have on the inside. That's your first spirit and then your flesh. So there's a makeup on the inside, and you can think about all the things that go on and try to decipher, hey, what's really going on inside of me that you can't pinpoint. But there are things that come up in your life that say, hey, you need to hold, or you need to find something else you need to do. Demographic you are, where you were raised, where you were born, wherever you are in this world or country in the United States, you have an instinct inside of you. And this instinct is there waiting to be accessed because it's a mechanism of operation for humankind, for who we are. It helps us and gives us complex responses or specific responses to environmental stimuli. So anything that happens in your environment, that instinct rises up and lets you know you need to take action or do this. It's a beautiful thing because it's almost like you're never alone in any circumstance or environment. The only obstacle is, are you going to listen to it? That really is the key, is listening to the instinct, to the inspiration, to the voice that's inside of you in that given moment, in that environment. Giving you an example, I remember when I met my wife, who's now, we're going on 20 years of marriage, is that when I first met her, there was something that was telling me in that moment, and I met her, and we got to continue to talk and conversate after the initial meeting. That instinct inside of me said, this is a very important and special woman in my life, and this could be someone that I could potentially marry and have part of my life for a very long time. And I'm so grateful that I listened to that. It wasn't perfect. I almost didn't listen to it. I almost ignored it. I almost felt like, nah, that can't be right. But it was always there telling me that this is the special and right one for you. And I'm glad that I was able to have that opportunity to be able to listen and embrace that instinct and that voice inside of me, because now I've been happily married for the last almost going on 20 years, and we've been together with my wife about 22 years. So, and there's so many other ways, opportunities. It's like, I remember when I was in high school, and I chose the sport of football because that was what big guys can play. I was a big husky kid, and I remember plainly that there was a time in my life around that 9th grade, 10th grade, where I wasn't quite the fastest, the strongest, the most talented, but I was learning. I knew that if I continued to learn and continued to grow, I could catch up to the other kids, the other boys that were playing the same sport, and compete with them, and even maybe outdo them in certain areas. And so I continued to listen to that instinct inside of me, say, you know what, Milton, you're not yet the fastest or the strongest, and I don't know if you ever will be, but but you can be the smartest. And I remember listening to that and actually applying that in my life, and made that a focus of my athletic career to always continue to learn, ask questions, and always watching and always listening and always putting myself there. And that was free. I didn't know what my physical body was going to do. I didn't know how advanced it can get, if it would be advanced at all, but I did understand, and the instinct was telling me that if I applied myself, something that I had the same ability as in my mind and my thinking and in my instinct, that I knew that I could do well. And that actually carried me on to be able to get a scholarship to play football and get an education from a university. And so I am a firm believer that instinct is something that we all have and need in our life in any situation. And I was going to share, I was reading an article of a Florida quarterback, Florida Gators, out of the University of Florida, and he's a quarterback. If you don't know football, he's a guy that throws the ball, or is one that calls the plays from the help of the coaches. And this quarterback had been sitting as a backup for almost 3 to 4 years at this university. Wasn't the starter, hadn't been the starter. Even in high school, he had his challenges where he was a good quarterback, but then there was another talented quarterback that came along that fit better in that offensive system, and the quarterback that he wasn't fit, but even though he got a chance to play during the games. Now, he worked hard in the gym, he worked hard on his craft, he worked hard on his thinking and digging in and how to become better, and he kept on. He was offered a scholarship at the University of Florida after he was given an opportunity to come try out, and he stuck with the University of Florida, had been there again 3 to 4 years, still not starting, but he knew that he was talented enough to do it. And there was one instance here recently where the starting quarterback went down with an ankle injury, and it was his turn to come in. He was the backup, and now because the starting quarterback was hurt, he came in and he shined and gave this team an awesome victory during that game. And all the people that knew him from high school and going through his process and battling and fighting, he contributed to all his success at this moment, and his ability to shine was that he listened to his gut instinct and did not leave or did not quit Florida and that school and that team because he had the option to. But because he stuck with it, as unpopular as it may be, because instinct is not always the popular way to go. Because right now in the temporal, in the moment, it may not seem the best option, but if you look at it long term, and there's things that are coming that you don't even know about, your instinct is trying to prepare you for the things that are unknown in your life and giving you the best and setting you up for success. That's what instinct does. It sets us up for success. And I'm a firm believer in that. And you tap into that, it's always talking from not only the biggest stage in your own life, but the smallest things too. It's like you could set a glass of water on the edge of a table, and your instinct says, "Oh, I wouldn't do that. Let's push that back 3 to 4 feet." And then all of a sudden, you see, and 5 minutes later, your cat jumps up on the counter where the glass of water was, and could have knocked it over, broken the glass, maybe spilled on something important or expensive, and tore and broke that. So there's things that happen just in our minute, small times, and throughout our daily, it's always there, that spiritual voice, that instinct is always speaking to us each and every moment. And it takes work and practice to listen to it, which is the important thing, is because that's where the work comes in. If you find time throughout the day to listen to that small still voice in your mind or in your heart that's telling you to do something, take the action. It may be, you might be driving, and then if somebody pops in your head, a person or a name, get on and it's telling you, give them a call, say hi, see how they're doing, and I guarantee you'll be so impressed that you're thankful that you made a decision to make them reach out to that person because they needed it in that moment. I can't tell you how much instinct or this inspiration, a small voice, has saved countless lives. People from suicide, maybe people from divorce, maybe people from injuring themselves. There's so many things that this instinct can do, not only benefiting yourself, but it's also there to help benefit and serve other people. And when you find the reason and the ways to serve other people, you will find true joy in your own life. I'm a firm believer in Maximizers, that you pay attention to instinct. Incline yourself to instinct. It will never, ever let you down. God bless you, Maximizers, and I appreciate your time today. God bless you. We'll see you on the other side. Peace. If you've enjoyed this episode, thank you for sharing on your social media streams, giving me a like, comment, thumbs up, whatever you can do to help encourage myself and also help encourage someone else by passing this along. Milton Herring at miltonherring.com. Sign up for my latest Maximizers Digest by placing your email and name and